Good afternoon, everyone. I am Pumsaran from the Equitable Education Fund, Thailand. Thanks for inviting the EEF to join this panel. First of all, let me introduce the Equitable Education Fund, or the EEF. The EEF is the semi-autonomous independent agency run by the EEF Board of Directors under the supervision of the Prime Minister of Thailand. It was founded in 2018 with the purpose of alleviating the inequality in terms of education and improving human capital in Thailand by supporting the poor and disadvantaged population, improve equity in education, and promote teacher quality and efficiency. The EAF was the result of Thailand's 2017 constitution, which stipulates that Thailand must establish a fund in order to cope with the problem of education inequality, improving the quality of education and teacher. As a result, the EEF was established. The EEF aims to help the poor and disadvantaged children and youth population, especially at the bottom 10 to 20% from pre-primary students, students in basic education from primary school to lower secondary school, and students in vocational colleges. For higher education, we support students who want to be teachers in rural areas and those who want to pursue higher education in vocational fields. Besides supporting students who are in school or colleges, the EEF also targets children and youth who are not in school or those who are called out-of-school children. The SDG 4 goals also align with the education aspiration of the EEF as well. I would like to point to a few situations of inequality of education in Thailand. First, in terms of access, Thailand has done quite impressively in enrolling students in primary and lower secondary schools, as we have 15 years of free education subsidy program in the past decades. However, the enrollment rate at upper secondary school and higher education remains unequal among students from poor background and the rest. More than 85% of students from advantaged families can continue their upper secondary education, while only 52% of the poor ones can advance to the upper secondary school due to poverty, so that they have to leave school for labor market in order to supply their families. The number of poor students in university is even smaller. Less than 5% of the students in the poorest population can attain higher education level. According to the OECD survey, less than 50% of the bottom 20 Thai students by socioeconomic background plan to study at university level, compared with more than 90% of the top 20 background. These show the disparity in aspiration and opportunity of the students from different backgrounds. Moreover, there are more than 500,000 out-of-school children in the country. There are many reasons children miss out from school. Most are from poverty reason or the family reason that their parents can see the long-term benefit of education when compared with the short-term gain from leaving school to be in the farm or factories to earn income for the family. Other reasons could be as compelling. It could be health issues such as the learning disability or other types of disabilities, or simply because schools are too far. According to the research in 2015, the out-of-school children in Thailand, although not high compared to some other countries in the region, but it is still significant. It has an economic cost around 6.52 billion baht, or around 1.7% of Thailand's GDP. As we are a small organization with limited budget, the EEF positions itself as a catalyst or an agent of change in the larger ecosystem of Thailand's education. As of now, for 3 years, we have helped students and youth in Thailand through various EEF intervention programs, from giving direct monetary subsidy via the conditional cash transfer program to around 1 million students, to giving scholarships to vocational students from upper secondary to college levels in vocational fields, to giving scholarship to students aiming to be a teacher in their rural hometown, Most importantly, we also focus on the research and innovation to improve the quality of education and improve the education equity in Thailand. We believe there are 5 game changers that lead to equitable education. First is the quality of teachers and schools. Therefore, we have programs that improve quality of schools through action research using different models such as the lesson study, creative education program, math and science education program, and so on. We also support research on how faculty of education develop curriculum to support the teaching of underprivileged schools in rural areas. Second, we believe in the power of information and data technology. We believe that the data is the heart of diagnosis of all the symptoms about education inequality. Therefore, we want to create the best education database for students and schools in Thailand. First, we use the mobile application for teachers to collect data such as students' home location, resources, school attendance, as we have a condition that students who receive the CCT subsidy must have at least 80% of attendance rate. We also collect data on health status of children, such as their BMI. In case we find that students have health issues, we can relay those information to the local hospital or healthcare providers nearby their school. The EEF can use the data collected from students and schools to create a data visualization maps to identify various issues such as the poverty map of school or areas in Thailand, the distribution of resources among schools or different areas. It proves to be highly useful as many organizations can use our student and school database system to identify schools in areas where they are needed. For instance, the Ministry of Education can use the map to identify schools where the resources are lagging behind. The private sector can use the IC maps to support schools that need help or for the CSR purposes. The politicians can also use the map to help their constituency regarding the education issues. For example, we found from the map that 78 localities in Thailand have no schools, and we can identify the localities with high number of out-of-school children. We can also indicate the availability of computer internet and electricity in schools. On the macro level, we also have a website called the EF in number, where we can track the essential statistics regarding the education inequalities, such as the statistic of poor students, the out-of-school children, the education budget on different student groups. They are eye-opening and have important policy implications for improving the education equity. The education decision makers at all levels can have the data that helps them to understand the problems. Thirdly, we believe in the social protection in education system, namely food security, family security, school security, travel security, and community security, especially during the COVID-19 pandemic, that we see how important the 5 pillars were. In the first wave of the COVID-19 last year, as schools in Thailand has extended their summer holidays, there was a lot of poor students who rely on food from their schools who did not receive the food. The EEF has provided food drive program for schools in those rural areas. We also wanted to make sure that students learned and did not suffer much from learning loss by engaging with the community volunteer in order to follow up with the learning of children during the pandemic. The EEF also supported the mobile teachers and the use of the Learning Box Tools kits for children during the pandemic. It proved useful for poor students who do not have internet or the computer at home. The EEF has been working hard in collaborating with all the relevant players in order to make sure that Thailand will achieve the SDG targets, which is to create an inclusive and equitable quality of education and promote the lifelong learning opportunities for all children in Thailand. With our hard work and determination, and with the support of Thai government, our domestic and international partners, Ministry of Education and other government agencies, the private sector, the civil society, and all the organizations, including those of you who attend the forums today. I believe that no matter how hard or ambitious those goals are, we would succeed in improving the quality and equity of our children and youth. Thank you very much.